And we are live. Welcome, everyone, to our live forum on nonprofit fundraising and board development. This is the second in this new format that we're doing. We're going live every Thursday at 3 p.m. Pacific time, 6 p.m. and the East Coast time. And of course, I'm broadcasting from my studio live here in Maui, Hawaii, and it's 12 noon. I want to give a big thank you and welcome to our guest today, Tibor Foki, who is the past U.S. area president for the Y Service Club, something that we called Wiseman many years ago. You've been a YMCA board member for over 50 years. I met you 40 years ago when I started my career at the YMCA. Welcome, Tibor.
Well, thank you so much. And that is true. I've been with the Y for a long time. And as a young kid, when I came to this country, I had a short stint at the Y too, back in 57.
I didn't realize you worked for the Y. We're going to get into that in a little bit. We're going to dive deep into all that stuff here in a minute.
Well, in 57, I didn't work for the Y. I attended the North Community Y.
Ah, I see. That was the old YMCA.
11. So I was 11 years old then, Mark.
Okay, so your service to the YMCA goes back longer than I thought. When you stand up and get your service pin, how many years do you have? Do you count now that you've been involved with the Y?
45.
40.
There was some broken time, but yeah.
Yeah. Ray Hamada, welcome. You are a Bellflower city councilman. A board member also of the Los Cerritos YMCA. You're a member of the Kiwanis Club of Bellflower. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Thank you for having me, Rob. It's again great to be here. And I too have a little Y story because back when I was a high school kid, the local Y had one of the only lighted basketball courts outside. So we would jump the fence. I was not a formal member, but we had some great games out there just because there was a light on the court at the Y.
That's a rite of passage, I think. Mm-hmm. I was an aquatic director for a Y, and I'd come in on Monday morning. We had a lot of people jump the fence and had a good time the night before. I want to take a minute to welcome all of our viewers that are coming in live. You're either watching from our YouTube group, which is called Nonprofit Campaigns, Inspiring Fundraising Success. If you're not a member, join us on our YouTube group and also from our YouTube page, Nonprofit Campaigns. We're also streaming to we're streaming to YouTube Live. On YouTube Live, you can't chat. So if you do chat, we can't see it live. We'll have to come back and view it later on the replay. But if you're in Facebook on our group or our page, you can type in and say aloha, say hello. Kai Weiser just said hello. He's in there. Introduce yourselves in there like Kai just did. Post our hashtag for the day, fundraising success, please, Kai and others. Kai Weiser is listening from Huntington Beach. He is the president of the Huntington State Beach Junior Lifeguard Association, and I know he's a client, and he's going to be. We're going to be doing a capital campaign to create a new junior lifeguard headquarters there in Huntington Beach. I see Nonprofit Campaign says hi from Long Beach. I think that must be Mark, my son, and partner in this business here. Welcome, you guys. As you guys are coming in, introduce yourselves. Post hashtag fundraising success in the chat. And a little later, I'm going to be asking you guys how you are enjoying our 30-day challenge to achieving fundraising success. And this is, of course, we're in day 15 today. We're halfway through the 30-day challenge. This is based on the magic word recorded by Earl Nightingale in 1961. And it still holds true today. So Ray and Tibor and others that are in the watching us live, if you haven't started that yet, jump in. You can watch that 14-minute audio tape. Mark and I post a message every day that's designed for achieving fundraising success, but you can use this to achieve success and have that success mindset in everything in your life. I am honored today to talk a little bit about nonprofit fundraising and service clubs. That is our topic today. And if you are a nonprofit professional and you've been in this room for a minute, you know that I encourage all nonprofit professionals to join a service club in your community and get involved. There's a lot of them. There's Kiwanis, and Ray's going to talk about that in just a minute. There's Rotary, there's Lions Club. There used to be an old saying, was it that Rotary owned the club, Kiwanis ran the Rotary owned the town, Kiwanis ran the town, and Lions have all the fun. And I've heard that flipped around the other way. I think in Bellflower, Kiwanis runs the town, but Lions seem to be always having the most fun. Ray Hamada, tell me about your experience in service clubs, and you are the past president, I believe, of the Bellflower Kiwanis Club.
Yes, sir. Yep, I did the presidency. I eventually became the lieutenant governor for the division, so I had to manage 10 clubs there.
And that was District 13, as I recall, right?
Yes, Division 13, and I was very fortunate to have a great group of presidents, and actually that year. We had the highest membership increase of the entire district, which includes California, Nevada, and Hawaii. So Kiwanis, yes. So
now, how many members are in your Bellflower Kiwanis Club these days?
Well, pre-COVID, we had pushing 70 members. Now, as we get out of this. We're probably just touching 60 members. We've been having a little tough time because we haven't been able to get back into the clubhouse, and so we've been meeting at restaurants. But we still have a great time, and we still do service and business of the club. We give out scholarships. We also do service projects with our key clubs. We sponsor 6 high schools. So we have access to probably 300 kids, and they are great workers. So they can help us out almost any time.
That is one of the most wonderful things about service clubs is they're involving kids in the high schools, teaching them the importance of community service. And I'm a Kiwanian as well. I'm past president of one of the Long Beach clubs. Many years ago, Ron Schnablegger was the lieutenant governor when I was a president of a Kiwanis club, and the people are, for some reason, people today, younger people, they're not joining like they did in the past in these service clubs.
Yes, we did find that out a few years ago. So we've been working to try to set up a plan for them to come in, maybe at a less cost, but still be available for service projects. So we've been trying to look at incentives so that the younger members could join, feel like they're part of the group, and again serve well. It's still tough, but we've been using our key clubs as a source. So again, we like to keep in contact with our key clubbers, and hopefully after they either finish college or they're again still around in town, we can get them in for membership. The first year free, and typically we'll find a sponsor for them. So we could keep them again hopefully for a few years, or if they stick around, we hopefully have them for a lifetime.
Wonderful. We're going to come back to that subject and how do we get people involved in service clubs. It's so important, I think, for all of our communities, and I think it's an absolute necessity. Smart nonprofit professionals are joining these Kiwanis, Rotary, Lions Club, Optimists, Sir Optimist. There is just a bunch of them out there. I've been a guest speaker at probably about every one of them in the Long Beach area. Tibor, Foki, As I mentioned before, I have known you 40 years. I started 40 years ago as an aquatic director for the Fairfield YMCA in Long Beach. You were a member of that board when I started 40 years ago. You are still a member of the board of directors at the Fairfield YMCA. Is that correct?
That is true.
We're going to talk.
Also campaign chairman for a number of times too, you know.
You've probably been board chairman, campaign chairman. Yeah. You've done, both of you guys have served every position there is known in the YMCA, I'm sure. And we're going to come back and talk about that in a little bit. But you are also I want to get this right, past U.S. area president for the Y Service Club, a club that we called Wiseman many, many years ago, although they've allowed women, I think, even long before Rotary and some of the other clubs. Why? And this is something unique. The YMCA does a really good job, in my opinion, of engaging volunteers and keeping them involved for various places. And that's why we want to use the YMCA as an example today of how to engage volunteers, develop board members, develop leadership. The Y Service Club is something a little bit different. It's dedicated to service to the YMCAs that they in their community, right?
Well, that is partially true. And the organization, just like the Kiwanis, were chartered or started back in 1920s. That's when service clubs were really popular and the service really started. And our group was started by a judge in Toledo, Ohio. And the main purpose was because he was a judge that started youth court to help the kids that had some problems. And he was also involved with the YMCA. So it was just a service club started, and it was the Tolimka Club, which Toledo YMCA. And from there on, today, we're in 77 different countries. Membership is down a little bit from previous years, especially in the US and Canada. But in Asia, especially in Korea, South Korea, we have only 6,000 members, and in India we have 9,000 members. Now, some of the service that we said we did, our primary focus is the YMCA in the community in different aspects. But we do international projects. We work with the YMCA. By the UN, we got the status of non-governmental group, and one of our big projects is to roll back malaria, and be proud that we do have a lot of big corporations like Microsoft is one of them that's involved in that too. The nets are about $10 a piece, and it does really work to eradicate malaria. But we also are, world-minded. We care about the footprint we leave. If anybody takes a trip, we kind of put a little money in the pot, and some of this money is used at different YMCAs to maybe upgrade their, to the new lighting systems to save energy. And some of these other situations. We do have youth exchange program with some of our fellow clubs in different parts of the world. And, we still have one club in the U.S. right now in Maine. That's one of the oldest clubs in the U.S. And close by over here in Pasadena, we have a club that just had their 76th anniversary. So, not the same guys, but we're trying. And again, the important thing too is trying to partner with some groups. We do support the Kiwanis when they have a fundraiser. Mm-hmm. Uh, and as far as getting young people in the organization, it is really tough. But one of my club members, Jason Hagensick, who's a CEO now in Florida, South.
That's right. I know Jason.
Yeah. He's starting a junior high school club that's kind of modeled after Y service clubs. So we're going to see how that goes, and hopefully we could do more of that. Now, as far as older young people, like college age, the problem that we're facing is that they start a club, they have 20, 30 kids in this club, and after college, then they disappear for a while and move on. While our clubs in Caribbean, the youth clubs are doing great because, they don't leave the country. So that's one of the problems that we have in the U.S. and Canada, that the kids, after they finish college, then they move away and start jobs, different things. But hopefully, maybe later on, we'll get those people back.
Well, that's what we're here to do today. We're here to talk about the importance of service clubs in your community, and of course, the importance of our viewers here that are that are nonprofit fundraising professionals to get involved in service clubs. I think it's really important to note, Ray, and Ray, of course, you're also a member of the YMCA Service Club, the Y Service Club here in there in Long Beach, greater Long Beach area. It's really important for our viewers to understand that if you're joining a service club, you might be a nonprofit professional, you represent that nonprofit, you raise money for that nonprofit, you're developing for volunteers for that nonprofit, but you really need to be genuine. When you're joining a service club, it's about giving back to your community. And we all know we need to give first before we can ask and receive. Isn't that right, Ray?
Oh, of course. Again, being part of a service club, I think, the first thing, before you join is to, again, look into your heart there, so to speak, and really, again, have that feeling is that, will you serve? And is it something that you can stand by? And so I've been blessed to have joined, I would say, most of the service clubs. And again, over my career, be it again where I worked, I've been in the Lions Club, I've been a Rotarian, I've been an optimist. I'm still an optimist personally, just as being an optimist versus a pessimist. But joining again that great club again, I think most of it again set around youth, and I've always again loved working with kids, teaching them, coaching them. Again, just being a part of their growth, and then seeing, what they turn into. And some have today are now again, presidents of organizations, companies. They're teachers. They're professors. They're business owners, and it's great to see to just go back and see how they turned out. I think the big thing that I've always valued with service club beyond just serving is that network value, is to grow your contacts, again, like-minded people, hopefully that will get involved in other things, because I'm also again on the board of directors for a faith-based organization, Kingdom Causes here in Bellflower. I'm a member of my church board. I'm also a board member of the Community Family Guidance Center, which serves mental health issues.
You're busier now that you're retired than when you were working.
I know. So someone forgot to give me the again playbook, but no. Again, if I show and touch my heart there, that's what it's about. I've been giving back since I was a little kid, so it hasn't changed. A great family growing up with who told me to take care of others. So that's my plan.
Well, God bless you for your service, and for our viewers, these are the mentors. That's why I wanted to spotlight these guys. These are what you want to replicate for board members for your nonprofit organizations all over the world that you represent. I want to take a moment to recognize a few of the people that said hello in the chat. Kimberly Barker is here. She is in the Caribbean, and she says, yes, YMCA service clubs are very active here. Kimberly is a client of nonprofit campaigns, and her organization is called Hopeful Handbags that assist domestic violence victims. I also see Al Austin has typed in here and said hello. Al Austin is council member for the 8th District, and so he's your colleague over there in Long Beach.
All right.
Al has a great district because I was the city councilman in that district many years, 20 years ago. My gosh, I was the councilman in that district that Al serves in. So I want to thank you guys that are joining us on the live Facebook and the live YouTube. Go ahead and please type hashtag fundraising success in the chat. And if you haven't introduced yourself, please do that. Also, Danya Webb, our nonprofit campaigns chief consultant, came in and just chimed in and said, hello, Tibor and Ray. Here's the neat thing I love about being a nonprofit professional myself and a consultant now for 26 years. When I was a young YMCA director, I met Tibor, and it is now 40 years later. And you're one of my best friends. You've been to all my kids' weddings. You've been to my Hanai child Gustavo's funeral. You've become a part of our family. And that is just something that the value of that. And I'm almost starting to tear up here right now, but the value of that is, developing relationships with volunteers and nonprofit professionals is so important. And now 40 years later, I just look back then and I'm so grateful for the 16 years I got to serve as a YMCA professional director. And that's what I hope you guys achieve that are our viewers watching this. It's just, you can't beat that value in relationships. And let's talk for a little bit about some of the value, since we're talking about service clubs. Let's talk some of the value these service clubs have done for our community. Wiseman has been around. I'm a past president of the Wiseman Club. I remember when there was Christmas tree lots at all the YMCA and I keep using these old terms, Wiseman. And I talked about how the YMCA does a good job of developing their volunteers. Tibor, you got involved when you were an Indian Guides. In fact, I think you served as like the honorary national position. That's now called Y Guides. Now you got to understand the YMCA has been around since 1844. They have changed the names of a lot of these things to be a little bit more culturally sensitive. But, back in the day, if you talk to my mentors like Ken Walker and some of these guys that, they used to swim naked in the YMCA pool downtown. So the Y's changed quite a bit. It's become a lot more culturally sensitive over the years. And so let's talk about some of the projects and things that not only the Y Service Club, but Kiwanis, Rotary, what are we doing besides, we're helping youth. What else are we doing to help the YMCA and nonprofits in particular in your communities? Go ahead, Ray. Let's start.
No, thank you. I think, as I mentioned, networking, and then Rob, you mentioned relationships, and again, over time, again, we become lifetime friends, and again, that connection will go for many years, and we always have somebody behind our back, again, helping us, and we can make calls quickly and get people on board, and but again, what the service clubs have done, for here in Bellflower, they've been able to fill some of the voids, with some of the dwindling budgets for certain programs and projects. Service clubs come through with additional city cleanups, with special events, be it so that the community could we could enjoy the area, and they've been able to do car shows, special events. They support again more of the cultural what kind of events that may not be able to be financially supported by the city. So we help again balance things out and get things going. We've been fortunate to have very active service clubs here in Bellflower that each of the council members here in Bellflower have joined service clubs, and we've been able to make some great friends, some great colleagues, and some great fellow public servants.
And I got to say, in Wiseman, in Kiwanis, I've been to a lot of service clubs meeting. I've been a guest speaker at many of them. Kiwanis Club of Bellflower, you guys have more fun than I think I've ever. I recall sitting my first time going as a guest speaker of the Kiwanis Club of Bellflower. I think I had to. So you guys set me up, so I sat on a wet napkin.
That still happens. I've had to keep seated. And not stand up after a wet napkin episode.
And of course, and when I was a president and at our Kiwanis Club, the big thing was stealing the bell. We had to chain the bell to myself. Mine got stolen. I had ransom notes sent from somebody that stole the bell. And one time the bell got placed at the bottom of the Petroleum Club pool. Another time they baked it in a cake. And of course, all that was designed because I had to give money and donate money to get my bell back as president. So yeah, these service clubs have a lot of fun.
We do.
Tibor, talk about Wiseman for in specific for right now. Some of the things that you could think of over the years that they've done locally to help their local YMCA branch.
Well, I think volunteerism through the years have changed because basically, I think, especially back in the days, and even now to some extent, given time was more of a thing than now. Before, we used to do a lot of work up at the camp, residence camp, Camp Oaks. We put in painting jobs at the YMCA, different things that we worked on. Mowed the lawn, planted plants, and just what have you. And I think now, because of a lot of liability issues, the Y needs money more than the talent, I guess, if you want to put it that way. So fundraising is an important aspect of that. But our club, still to this day, we help. Y has a Healthy Kids Day that we put in some time and help with the affair. A few years back, we had National YMCA Gymnastic Championship here in Long Beach. We put in some time helping to show people around, as guides. We also get involved with the Youth in Government, which is, I think, a great program for the YMCA. Interview.
That is an excellent program.
Yeah. So, the kids take over after they go through the process. They actually go to Sacramento, take over the chambers, and act out. And of course, hopefully they're going to be good leaders, right? So
that is how we develop leadership. And
right.
And Kimberly Parker asked a question I want you guys to address here real quick. She is, of course, in Barbados. She says, do you think the media has a part to play or place in losing the number of kids who want to serve and give community service? Ray, start off with that. What do you think?
Wow, that's a very interesting question. the press not supporting the programs, and then the kids not wanting to participate. Yeah, well, here, fortunately, we have great press that supports, again, local service. And I mean, we use the press to highlight, events for some of the work that's been done, and hopefully it helps, again, grow the club, or again, grow that interest in service. I mean, there's a lot of people that want to be involved, but they just don't know. And sometimes they, come across either via social media or just, the good old fashioned newspaper, and they see something in print and they say, wow, I mean, this is happening in town. And so this is great. And I'd like to get involved. And I hope the press is not causing, children or youth to avoid getting involved. I think it's not political. Service clubs are not political. They're not dangerous. And I think if you can, gather together in support of a certain mission or a certain event or project, power to the village, and it's gonna it's gonna take that village to take care of things rather than one individual. So I hope everything goes well in Barbados. Surprised yet, and possibly outside this country, the press may be used for certain ways, but it hopefully is used as a positive measure to get people involved with not only their local neighborhoods, their in their state, or then in their country too. So,
you said a real important part there, and it's you utilize the press to advance your mission of whatever your nonprofit organization is doing, your service club is doing, and I think that's our responsibility. I think maybe and I'm going to ask Tibor to jump in and answer this question as well, but I want to get this off before I forget. I think a lot of times the press focuses a lot on negative news, and I would love to see them focus on positive news. How do we do that? We, as nonprofit fundraising professionals, need to feed the press those stories. We should be inviting, especially local newspapers and television stations, radio stations. We should be inviting the executives of those organizations to be a part of your nonprofit board. We always had at the YMCA of Greater Long Beach, we had Larry Allison and others who are from the Long Beach Press Telegram on the board of directors, and they will help and support us. It's really kind of it's our responsibility to work with the press and give them that opportunity to cover positive things. Kimberly had a question that said, a comment that says, Mr. Foki did make a valid point on the high rise of liabilities choking nonprofits. You want to help but fear that you're being sued for I don't know, can you read this? Higher reason why everyone come to Caribbean or something like that. I'm not sure how to respond to that, but I want to let Tibor answer the question. And yeah, everything we're in a little more of a litigious society. By the way, and that's why Kimberly and everybody else, I always suggest your nonprofit organizations need to have errors and omissions insurance and general liability insurance that covers all of your board members and your organization and acts that go on there. Tibor, do you have anything to add on this and the media and volunteer service in your community?
Sure. And I agree with Ray, 85%.
Okay.
The press is not always friendly, and I guess maybe they get a lot of stories or whatever. But our local paper, which I don't get anymore, I get the Orange County paper. The Press Telegram used to have a section in there every Tuesday for service clubs and different stuff and what their activities were. Well, they did away with that. So they don't have it anymore. And true, there's a lot of negative press in the paper, of what you hear, news, not press. But anyhow, going up to Big Bear, where our resident camp is, I got a home up there also. And it's so nice to hear where on the radio they're talking about what the kids have done. Somebody lost a cat. What kind of meetings coming up? You don't hear the local stuff that they just keep pounding all the time, and it's more obvious over there. And of course, some of the smaller papers do put in community things. And I think by putting in more positive stuff, I think it would be better for the community. But it's not as good as it used to be, I don't think. But if you guys have luck, that's great. I wish we could get more press ourselves.
Let's talk about, let's move gears a little bit, and let's talk about your roles as board members of the YMCA. And once again, we're here today with Ray and Tibor to use the YMCA as an example of an organization that you can look at and model your nonprofits after, that take people in, parents in when their kids are young, put them in Y Guides programs, swimming lessons, going to Camp Oaks. And I was a Camp Oaks teen counselor 40 years ago, believe it or not, and love Camp Oaks and been going there for many years. I'm not sure if Camp Oaks is following us on Instagram. I don't know if they're here right now in this. If they are, give a shout out. And of course, Mark Bixby comes to mind, who is, rest in peace, one of my dear friends and graduates from Leadership Long Beach together. And, it's so much time and energy with so many other people into camp. The YM, and you guys have been board members a long time. How did you end up becoming a board member? And I'm going to go back to you, Ray. How did you end up becoming a board member of the YMCA? What was your path to join in there?
Well, as I do in other organizations, again, someone asked, and but I did.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a key. Someone's got to ask, but you definitely have to have a good sense of history again with the in this case the why. And again, as I mentioned, my little Y story. I mean, those are great memories. And when someone asked me to be on the Y board, it was like, wow, all right, maybe it's time. I may have been on like 3 other boards at the same time, and it made me just a split second say, let me think about it. But no, it was an immediate yes, I'll do it. And I'm blessed now to be the board chair. I've been re-upped for another year as the chair. So we did really well with campaign. Our program during COVID for the lunch distribution just ballooned. It was an amazing time for almost 4 months. We served food, and trying to remember how many lunches we passed out over the course. I think it was well over 120,000 lunches. So
wow.
So
Jeremy Eschenau, your executive director, told me a little bit about what you were doing during the beginning of COVID.
It was an awesome time, and again, we were committed to it, and we again sought the partnership of the Bellflower Unified School District. So they're as part of that network, and they were able to provide the food. We were able to cover the cost through a grant, and so the rest was history. And again, just going back to that value of relationships. That's where it starts. And again, someone had a relationship with me to come forth and ask. And it was to me it was a great moment. And So I've been on the board here, and not as long as Tibor. Tibor's holding the record for this area, but I'm kind of like one of the newbies, but it's a great organization, and it did branch out to my again connection to the Wiseman. So
wonderful. We're going to ask Tibor that same question real quick. Kimberly typed in something like, wow, 48 years, Rob. No, just 48 years. I said 48. I misspoke. I'm not that old yet. Tibor's holding that record. He's got me beat. Tibor, how did you get involved? How did you get recruited into that YMCA board member pipeline?
Well, and you know this guy too. He was a former CEO of North Community YMCA, Bob Odie, and Sarah Johnson.
I know Bob.
Yeah, and that's what it is. They said, "Hey, you know, we know that there's this organization that helps the YMCA called Wiseman." And by the way, we are still internationally, Rob. It's called Wiseman because other parts of the world really don't care.
They're not as politically correct as us.
well, it's for mankind, man. So now internationally, they like to use YMI. But in the US, we Y service clubs. But anyway, so they asked, and I thought it was a good thing to kind of do some things. And we got together 20 people, and we started Long Beach Uptown Wiseman's Club at that time, and we changed our name through the years. But, you know, the whole thing, and I think with anything in life, whether joining something or fundraising or whatever, you got to ask to ask. And, you know, when I was U.S. area president, because we were looking for membership, and I took ASK, A-S-K. And I figured, you know, I said, you know, there's something to this looking at the Bible, right? So it's not in the same order as ask, but the letter S, seek, and you shall find. Knock, for the K, and the door will be open. Ask, and you shall receive. Now, it works most cases, but I thought that was a cool thing that I used, you know, and so
I love that. Yeah.
Asking is it, you know, because if you're scared to ask or whatever, it's not going to happen. What can they say? No, right? Or sure.
You are giving me chicken skin, as we say here in Hawaii, goosebumps. I happen to have a book sitting on my desk. This is, I'm reading right now by Mark Victor Hansen and his wife, Crystal Dyer Hansen. It's called Ask, the Bridge from Your Dreams to Your Destiny. And you're right. So many nonprofit professionals don't like to ask. Volunteers don't like to ask. The worst case thing they're going to say is no. And I teach and preach that as volunteers, as fundraising professionals, even if we go out and tell our story, it's time to talk about fundraising. We only have about 15 minutes yet left. We may go longer if you guys are willing, but let's talk about fundraising for as board members. The YMCA right now is at I think number 7 in the United States as far as the ranking and how much money they raise. And of course, they're up there with Salvation Army and Goodwill, and United Way is now coming back up. Those things come up and down, but the YMCA has always been one of the top fundraising organizations. And I want to, before I ask that, I want to talk about board size, and I'm going to ask you both how big your board is. And we're going to talk a little bit about the boards, and we're going to move more into fundraising. The average size of a board in the United States is something like 15 or 16 members. I advocate for big boards just so we can have those more people volunteering, asking, sharing the word, having, and that's what the YMCA is real good at, developing and to me, the fundraising campaign at the YMCA is an adult leadership program that's just as important as sending kids to camp and youth sports and parent-child programs and healthy lifestyle programs. We're developing leaders and they're going through this pipeline. Ray, real quick, how many board members are at the Los Cerritos YMCA right now?
We're at now 14, but our goal is to double that. So
okay, and in my day, I remember you were always at about 30 people in the board.
Yeah, we're on track. We get together under a governance committee, and so we start throwing out names. And again, the Los Cerritos YMCA serves 4 areas, actually four cities: Cerritos, Artesia, Paramount, and Bellflower. So we can draw from 4 communities as we again work on our mission. So that's our goal. We keep asking, and hopefully we'll. Right now, we're sort of taking it in like baby steps. If we can get 5 more here, maybe by fall, hopefully, and then after that, then we'll seek out the next 5. So.
And how many, and of those 14, 15 board members, and like I said, back in my day, it was 30, you're headed back up to that number. How many of them are involved in fundraising and actually going out and asking others, sharing their story of why they support the Y and asking others to give at their level of giving?
Well, at the last campaign, we were blessed to have 100% participation from the board.
Absolutely. That is exactly what we love to see.
That is awesome. So, again, it's at various levels, but everybody committed to at least something.
Tibor, jump in here a little bit. How big's the board at the Fairfield YMCA right now, and how involved are they all when it comes to fundraising?
Well, we have 15, and we have one person that showed some interest. We'll find out, have a board meeting Monday. So hopefully make that 16. And of course, for our association wide with the 5 branches, we have about 20, 25 for the Metro board. And I think that's probably a good size. And so I do feel that we do need definitely more members. And I think it's very important that when these board members sign up, because one of the commitments that we need from them is that they are going to be fundraising also. That
you guys are up front with that when you recruit them.
Right. And I think it's very important for that. And you know what it is? It's sometimes I think maybe that what we're asking is a little bit higher, but that's the asking, again. And if they can't afford some, then they could give less. But again, like with Ray's branch over there, we had 100% participation, which we haven't had that in a while. And a good size amount of money too. And so it's important. And again, which you're probably going to get into, but I think the biggest thing is because I was in charge of the board recruiting, and it's pretty easy because for me, as soon as I get it, I call everybody, because if I wait, then you procrastinate. So
I think we're having an internet skip there.
Oh, did you? Oh,
can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, you know what? The fun part of going live is the internet jumping out. So you guys both have 15 board members. They're 100% involved in the campaign. Just give me an example of how much money you guys are raising now. What's the goal at Los Cerritos these days
Our
for
goal
your
for
annual
the
campaign that you run every year with
campaign
volunteers?
was let's see, 110,000.
110,000 just at that one branch. You
just at
duplicate
that one branch.
with 5 YMCA's in a camp, you're well over $1 million.
Oh yeah. No, again, we were able to exceed our goal. So at least we covered our share, and as Tibor mentioned, Fairfield did very well. Also, I saw the statistics because I'm also on the Metro board as a chair of one of the local branches. You get to be on the Metro board too.
Right.
So, but yes, there's there. As you mentioned, again, overall, it was well over $1 million total.
Okay, so let's, as I said, the average number is about 15, 16 in the United States, board members for nonprofit organizations. You guys are at about the average. I know a lot of our viewers are less than that, and they're working to do that. So I'm going to ask you guys, how do you inspire our viewers to go out and recruit more volunteers and develop that pipeline? That's one of the things I love about the fundraising campaign in the YMCA is where you're involving your members, you're involving program participants in it. And you guys now have a pipeline of volunteers that are committed to the Y, raising money, and you get a chance to kind of watch them a little bit before they, and say, hey, man, that guy's going to make a good board member.
Okay, absolutely. As I mentioned, we do it under a governance committee. So there's a few of the board members sit, and we actually started writing down names, and we get ideas from each of the cities. Actually, I believe we came up with a list of probably close to 50 names to at least possibly contact. Yes, there's
Wow.
some discussion as to the likelihood that they may participate. So there is a ranking, I think, just to be sure that I think there are some candidates that may fit in better, but we're going to still eventually get to them all, hopefully. At least ask. That's the thing. But again, I think it's one of those is again who you know, and you're just able to go from there and start branching out. And again, each of us knows different people, and so if 15 board members have each a group of their own contacts, it just goes from there, and at least there's opportunity. So it's going to fare well, but you just got to put some of that work into it and actually start making those calls or start sending those emails, but hopefully make it personal. I always go for the face-to-face, personal, and really draw them.
Tibor, can you hear him?
I can.
We're having a little bit of internet issue, and I'm not sure if it's on my internet end or on your end, Ray.
I think
Tibor, how are you doing in there? Can you hear us?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I'm popping in and out.
All right.
Right now you're frozen, one more
Rob.
question here, and hopefully
Tibor's moving. I can see Tibor's moving, but Rob, all right.
So, shall we continue?
What was the question, Tibor?
No, with I don't know if I guess we're still on, but
yeah, just go ahead.
With our board, the biggest thing is I think that you got to find people that care about the community and the job that you're doing, because most of the Ys and even other nonprofits, you do try to help people in need. And with the Y2, there's a lot of giveaway programs. Some of them could be subsidized from government things, but other ways too. So I think that's important that you look at people that have the same vision. I think you got to be careful that to not accept board members that maybe have another agenda. Sometimes you get some people that are perhaps you say community activists, but they're looking for other things, and I think it's a bad mix there. So
Yeah, with each.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons they have that pipeline. I am back, by
Yeah.
the way. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, Rob.
I had to go shake my internet router. Sorry about that. We talked a little bit earlier about how the YMCA does a good job of developing that culture of philanthropy. We've got a few minutes left, but I want to get this one question out. One of the things that we preach at nonprofit campaigns to all of our clients is that fundraising is best done from a volunteer that has a relationship with the donor and not necessarily the CEO or the executive director. Now, the executive director and CEO and other program directors and development directors, they certainly can be present when we're asking donors to give gifts. But Tibor, I want to ask you, in your 50 plus years in the YMCA, how many executive directors have you seen come and go? And I know most of them.
Well, I guess I could say I trained a few, but
yep.
But anyway, I just want to say that, and I don't know if Danya's on there too, but
Danya's listening.
She was one of those things that at first I didn't get it, but when we were raising funds, she always wanted to have a stretch goal.
Mm-hmm.
To go a little bit past than what you think that you're going to be raising. And I think that's very essential, because I think what we have found out a lot of times that, not all the money that you raise, you're going to get. And with the stretch goal, we were able to either come very close or surpass what we were trying to raise. So that was a good thing. And I'm still a fan of that. Danya?
Thank you, Danya. She is, was a master fundraiser, has her her master's degree in philanthropy and fundraising from Bay Path College, and she recently noted that a lot of the programs and the online training courses that we teach here at Nonprofit Campaigns, they just don't teach this at the college level. And a lot of it comes from my experience with the YMCA, and I've tweaked over the last 25 years to fit these campaigns into other organizations. I guess the point I'm trying to say, Tibor, and I appreciate you mentioned that stretch goal, that you have relationships with donors that go back many, many, many years. And if it was the YMCA executive that had all those relationships, well, when the Y exec leaves and go to another place or retires, that donor relationship now has left the organization. And it's typically your volunteers that are going to be around for the long term. Now I know you've been blessed with Jeremy for a long time as at Los Cerritos YMCA as the branch exec, and but I know he also probably really teaches and preaches that the volunteers need to be the ones out front, leading the campaign, chairing the campaign, being the division managers, being the team captains, being the campaigners, and the exec kind of takes a more of a support role in the back, right?
Oh, yes. I think, when it comes to campaign, when we gather, we always talk about the purpose first and make sure we are all aligned on the purpose. And then we get to the money thing, of course. And that's the one thing about fundraising. I've always, in my years of doing it, I've always found myself either it's an art or it's a science, and there's a sort of art of it, the goal and the purpose, and then the science is okay how to get it and deal with it. But I think the connections, the fluid, transitions, again. We strive to make sure that, again, all those, campaign cards from the past, they get touched by somebody so that we follow up. Yeah, we've probably missed a few, but we've definitely grown as we get new board members, and our minds we could start aligning. We've definitely been blessed by again meeting our goals, but yes, I'm glad that Jeremy's again been around. He's a wealth of knowledge. He's a great guy. He knows what what he's doing, and he's definitely has that passion for the why. And his wife's a why person too. So I mean, it's a family thing, and again, we all feel part of this family, and that's what we'll do. Again, what it takes to get the job done.
Thank you, Ray. That is, that's what we teach here at Nonprofit Campaigns. I know both of your YMCAs and all of our viewers, they have direct mail programs. They have social media and online giving programs. They do special events and golf tournaments and things like that. But the purpose of all that stuff is to take those people from those levels of giving and bringing them into what we call a high impact fundraising campaign, where a cadre of volunteers are going out telling their personal story of why they support the organization and asking others to give at their level. Ray, thank you. We've gone for an hour already, and I cannot believe that hour went by so fast. Tibor and Ray,
it was definitely fun.
Thank you guys for this. I always have a good time when we're doing this, and that's what we should be doing when we're in service clubs and nonprofit boards. I want to just give you guys each an opportunity to make some closing remarks, and then we'll wrap this thing up. Go ahead, Tibor.
Yeah, I just wanted to say about the fundraising too, and I think that I learned that from the Y too, and I think it is very important that you tell the story. In other words, you tell about the organization, and maybe at that time it doesn't bring you any money in, but it could be future donors. And then if they do give, a lot of people give because they know you personally. So that's kind of an important thing too. But you could always get back to them what their dollars have done and tell them that, hey, we're doing this project. This is the amount of money we need to raise. And I think it's a little bit better inform your donor of what you're doing. And I think it might help you raise more of those funds. And, I think you were saying that you're kind of working with some Huntington Beach lifeguard group or something.
That's one of our clients.
Well, right. Jericho Poplar, right? In the old surfing days. And Jennifer.
Jericho's a friend of mine, yes.
Is a friend that's over there too. She's a lifeguard. So, there's a lot of great people in a lot of different places. And I think that if you tell your story, whatever it is, what you try to achieve, I think it makes better sense for you to try to help to raise funds. And by the way, Hawaii, mahalo. Thank you. But anyway, my friend, being in Hawaii, we got 9 clubs over there, and they're looking for some members.
Okay.
So being a former member of Long Beach Uptown Club, you could probably maybe join one of those clubs.
Well, it's funny. I've gone over and developed a relationship with the executive director of the YMCA here on Maui. I got to find out. I don't recall if they have a Wiseman's Club here, so I want to check.
Well,
Ray Hamada.
Bobby.
Go ahead, Tibor.
Yeah.
Bobby Stiver Apiki is the president, U.S. area president, just going out of office. He was a Y director in the past. So kind of look up some of these names.
All right, I gotta look them up. Thank you, Tibor. Now your experience, we're all having a little bit of internet delay issues today. But thank you, Tibor, for being involved. Thank you for your service to the YMCA for so many years, over 50 years. I've been blessed to be a friend of yours for 40 years. And like I said, you've become part of our family. That's what I hope all of our viewers out there as nonprofit professionals can achieve with their board members, these lifelong relationships where we all got each other's back. Ray Hamada, thank you so much as well. Give me your parting shot for us today and that you got.
Yes, thank you, Rob. Again, being part of a service club has definitely been a blessing in my life, and it definitely again helps me keep my feet looking down to earth, and definitely enjoy the service and the friendships. My buddy Tibor there, he's a great guy, and he again he's done some great things over time, and I know he's going to do some, more great things. But definitely, one of the things, before we do the money asking is, we actually, ask potential donors to come out and, join in on, one of our service events, or come join us to, again, meet the key clubbers, or again, stop by the Y to, again, see what we're doing here to serve, kids and families. And there's some great things happening, and yeah, once you see it, sometimes it's magic, and it goes from there. So again, being part of a service club, and you're gonna, as me again, everybody is mentioning, lifelong friends, and just a great network that has. Just an awesome potential to grow other clubs, and again have people involved in like higher office, whatever it may be. It's definitely helps in that springboard, but fundraising for me is to serve people. So. I know that money will do well out there, and the YMCA again is one of the greatest organizations on this earth. So just wanted to again reinforce that.
Yeah, and I want to add real quick that the money that you guys are raising for these YMCAs is covering. If nobody gets turned away at the YMCA, right? You kids, and you're raising money to send kids to camp, to give kids swimming lessons, to give kids an opportunity to be part of that youth and government program and go to Sacramento and learn how our government is supposed to work functionally, and be able to get involved in sports programs and parent-child programs. The Y turns nobody away. These guys raise money so every kid in the community has a chance to participate, and families have a chance to participate. I want to thank you guys for that. I want to thank all of our listeners for joining us, because this is what your goal is, to go out and develop volunteers like Tibor and Ray. They're going to be involved in your organizations, be Pied Pipers, tell your story of what great things that your organization is doing in the community, and ask others to join them as volunteers, ask others to join them. Remember, the magic word is ask. As I say the magic word, I want to encourage all of our viewers. As I said, we're in day 15 of our 30-day challenge to achieve that fundraising success mindset. This is based on the magic word that was recorded in 1961 by Earl Nightingale. I listen to this every day. Mark, my son, and I are having a great time coming up with these daily messages. I encourage you to join our Facebook group, participate, listen to that 14-minute audio from Earl Nightingale. And if you do what the things that it says for 30 days, it's going to become a habit that is going to help you in fundraising success in every area of your life for the rest of your life. I want to thank you both for joining us today. If you're watching this on the replay in Facebook and YouTube, type Hashtag fundraising success in the comments and share this with your friends and colleagues in fundraising. And we will return next week on Thursday, 3 p.m. Pacific time, 6 p.m. East Coast time for our next edition of, what do we call this thing? The live forum on nonprofit fundraising and board development. Have a beautiful day, everybody.
Mahalo, Rob.
Thanks, Rob.
Aloha. Aloha.